Howdy folks, and this episode of Star Wars Lore is on the Gladiator class Star Destroyer. The Gladiator class Star Destroyer was built and used by the Galactic Empire, and there were two variants of it, the Gladiator 1 and the Gladiator 2. Now the Gladiator was a small Star Destroyer that shared its keel design with the broadside class cruiser. A ventral protrusion on the hull appeared to cover the ship's main reactor, but was also the location of several cannons. Now, the class had two main thrusters and no visible secondary thrusters. It possessed an array of capital-grade torpedo or concussion missile launchers and turbolaser emplacements. Torpedo loading bays were located deep inside the ships, with automated loading arms controlled from a console next to the conveyor belt that fed munitions to the launchers. The total number of guns installed on the Gladiators were 25 light turbolasers, 10 point defense laser cannons, 10 medium concussion missile launchers, and 6 tractor beam projectors, grouped in 5 turbolaser batteries, 2 laser batteries, 2 missile batteries, and 3 tractor beam batteries. Now, the Star Destroyer class was characterized by its extensive hangar area with an opening. This Star Destroyer class was characterized by its extensive hangar area with an opening in the bow of the vessel, or the front, that split the forward superstructure in two, similar to the broadside class. Now, the hangar had enough room for several starfighters to enter or exit at the same time. It had a complement of about 24 fighters that was usually carried to intimidate small frontier worlds. Also, had enough room for 5 AT-STs, along with a number of shuttles and landing craft. Now, the Gladiator was originally envisioned as a Republic escort vessel for the Victory class Star Destroyer, and the initial design was made by Walex Blissix for Rendili's Star Drive. The final design was not finished until after the end of the Clone Wars, and with the Victory class being abandoned as a main warship by the Galactic Empire, the specs were handed over to Kuat Drive Yards. Now, Kuat Drive Yards repurposed the class as a long-range patrol vessel, carrying enough troops, fighters, and firepower to subjugate local pirate groups and planetary defense forces in the fringe regions of the galaxy. Now, when the Rebellion began to field heavier naval elements, smaller Imperial ships like the Gladiator class were outmatched. A ship of this class, the Demolisher, served as the flagship of Imperial Admiral Terrenold Screed during his mission to the Rune System. Now, prior to the Battle of Tammuz-An, circa about 15 BBY, 15 years before Battle of Yavin, the pirate leader Gur Kaibo Ren Char and his band stole the Demolisher from an Imperial repair dock, and they utilized it to attack the planet of Tammuz-An in order to steal its riches, but were defeated and the ship was disabled. And many other Gladiator-class Star Destroyers were captured by pirates. Its value in the black market was around 34 million credits. The Empire deployed two versions of the Gladiator, Gladiator 1 and the Gladiator 2, and at least one Gladiator-class Star Destroyer was deployed to guard the Tamira City cloning facility on Kamino at 2 BBY, or 2 years before Battle of Yavin, where it later participated in a battle with a fledgling Alliance fleet. And this is, of course, referring to the assault on Kamino during the Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. As you'll see that footage in the actual video if you watch. At some point during the video, you'll see the pictures and it'll come up with the actual game footage of the assault on Kamino during the Force Unleashed 2 game. The shipyard facilities in orbit of Liana were used to perform maintenance of a Gladiator-class ship during the Galactic Civil War, and a force comprised of the Blood Ambition, which was another Gladiator, and 2 Raider 1 class corvettes attacked the planet Zorn and fought against a rebel fleet. Now, the Gladiator class Star Destroyers actually had a very interesting feature on their ships, and this was that turbolaser shots always seemed to fire, the turbolaser shots fired always seemed to emit from the ring around the reactor dome on the bottom of the ship, or from the reactor itself. This is kind of similar to ships in Star Trek, which possess phaser banks and rings on the top or bottom of the ships. I am also a fan of Star Trek, but Star Wars over Star Trek all the time. Due to the amount of Yeah, so this is similar to ships in Star Trek, which possess phaser banks on wings on the top or bottom of the ships. Now, due to the amount of projectile ordnance the Demolisher possessed, the ship's design seemed to have been focused on missile delivery, which suggested that Gladiators were used as artillery support ships and not actually used for capital ship combat. Now, the small number of traditional capital ship weapon emplacements would only be a threat to small ships such as blockade runners, and the missile launchers would have to be used as the primary weapons. Now, back to where I mentioned about the Force Unleashed 2 before. An interesting fact I actually completely forgot about until I was redoing my research before I made this video, just to make sure I got all the facts right and all that stuff, was that despite being one of the earliest Star Destroyer classes seen in official media, the Gladiator class wasn't actually named until 2008 when its profile appeared in the Force Unleashed campaign guide. And until this time, fans had simply named the class after its only known vessel, which was the Demolisher. In the Droid series, the Demolisher seemed to fire its turbolasers from the ventral dome, and the size of the Starship was about 500 meters in the Force Unleashed campaign guide and 600 meters in the Friends Like These series. So the actual length of a Gladiator is between roughly between 5 and 600 meters. And it also had a Class 1 hyperdrive with a backup of a Class 8, which was Class 8 really bad. It also required a crew of around 1,200. It could carry about 1,200 passengers or troops, and it had about a cargo capacity of around 6,000 tons and carried enough consumables for the crew for about 2 years without resupply. And that is the Gladiator. One of my favorites. I kind of like it. I like how it looks. It's also one of the more realistic ships that could be stolen and used by pirates and that, because it still requires 1,200, but easier to handle than if you had a Victory or an Imperial, because they require much larger crews. I mean, I just love the look of this one. It's like just a small little cruiser. But but that is the Gladiator class Star Destroyer. So if you like the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications to keep up to date with my videos. Leave a comment or two as well, let me know what you thought of the video, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Later.